I'm very pleased to be joined now by my friend and colleague, Elyse Spatz Caplan, who's the Director of Programs and Partnerships at Living Beyond Breast Cancer, lbbc.org. Hello, Elyse.
Hi, Selma.
Let's talk about, in detail, the organization, the projects that you're involved with.
Living Beyond Breast Cancer was founded 20 years ago in 1991, which ironically was the same year I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And we are celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. We develop educational programs in a lot of different formats, understanding that people learn in different ways, people have different preferences for how they get their information and support. So we're not delivering the breast cancer information in just one way. Our large physical conferences that happen 3 times a year are great for women that want to get up close and personal, meet with the experts, hear the latest medical and quality of life updates, but also network with their peers for that vital peer support from other survivors. Our teleconferences are wonderful for people all over the country and all over the world because you can do it from the privacy of your home, your office, your cell phone. You can dial into a toll-free number or log online. All of our programs, I want to say, are audio recorded, and the podcasts go up on our website, lbbc.org. So that information is available year-round for the woman that's diagnosed tomorrow or next week that may want that information but couldn't attend the program or didn't know about the program. We offer publications for people who like to read, who like to get their information in writing. So we have newsletters that come out 3 times a year. And we have a series of guides we call our Understanding Guides. And we have a series of titles in the early breast cancer setting and a series we're very proud of in the metastatic breast cancer setting. So that's really good for people that like to read. All of these publications are available as a PDF on our website, lbbc.org, so people can access them or they can order them from our website also for free. And we have peer support on a toll-free survivors helpline for women that really want to talk privately to another woman who's walked in their shoes, who gets it. And we have a pretty sophisticated matching service for that. You could get the volunteer on the phone who can give you that vital support and help a woman formulate great questions to take back to their healthcare team so they can make informed decisions. Or if somebody's having a particular surgical procedure or a particular treatment or is a certain age in life or phase of life, they can request to try to be matched to a volunteer who has a similar experience. Caregivers are also a very important audience for us, and we're always encouraging women to bring their loved ones, their providers, their family members, their friends, their colleagues to our programs or to listen in and obtain information, because you and I both know that it's oftentimes the supporters that are in positions to be gathering information, and that's a helpful role that caregivers can play. So we're very inclusive of caregivers, and we want to be attentive to the needs that they have so they can maintain that endurance that they need to maintain their own personal life, but also support their loved ones.
What about young women with breast cancer?
To talk about young women, I'll step back and say one of our core philosophies and values at Living Beyond Breast Cancer is to make sure we're filling in gaps in information and support, because as we've talked about all the time, breast cancer is not just one disease, it's many diseases, and when it affects people at different phases of life or different stages of diagnosis, the information or support needs to be tailored. So 15 years ago, in 1996, we identified young women as an underserved group. In other words, while we know that the majority of women diagnosed with breast cancer are middle-aged or older, there are younger women. You and I were young women when we were diagnosed. And so even though it's a smaller percent overall, they need that tailored information so it's relevant. And so we created a conference specifically for young women 12 years ago, to specifically give young women a place to come to meet other young women for that vital peer support, but also to hear from the experts. And that started as a 1-day conference in 2001 and has moved to a weekend-long conference. And we partner with Young Survival Coalition on that conference so we can reach even more young women affected by breast cancer.
Given that there are so many breast cancer groups, what do you think is a fundamental difference with Living Beyond Breast Cancer As far as the mission of the organization or the way it's structured or the way you do your outreach to patients?
One of the ways that we're different, and is sort of the way that I like to answer that question. I mean, we are an education and support organization, and our mission is very concise: to empower all women affected by breast cancer to live as long as possible with the best quality of life. And so we tie everything back to that mission. It's education, empowerment, and quality of life, whether newly diagnosed or worried about a diagnosis, in treatment, post-treatment, years beyond, or metastatic. Quality of life is subjective. It's whatever it is to that individual. And so we want to make sure that what we're delivering always has that quality of life endpoint as part of our program. But also, we're different from other groups because we're disseminating the information in multiple formats. And many of the groups do it in one or two or fewer ways. Their missions are tied to either raising dollars for research or giving peer support or research advocacy. There's so many different areas that other groups also may take on as their primary mission, but we are trying to stick to our mission of education and support and deliver it in multiple ways.
All right, so speaking of education, for me, one of the most important things that you do is the translation of research and putting it into a language that's easier for the public to understand.
So we often will take a clinical trial as an example. We'll talk about the study design, which is facts, and then we'll translate at the end, like, what does it mean for you? And we try to really get that message out of, what does all this complicated medical information actually mean? And we hope and we think that by translating what it means for you, it's something that you can digest and process and also share with your care providers or your loved ones when you're trying to educate them about some decisions you're making or concerns that you may have.
I want to thank you again for really working so closely with Vital Options this year to enhance our outreach to the advocates. And
It's
just
my
for
pleasure,
being
Selma.
the personable person
Thank you.
and smart lady that you are.
Thank you so much.
Elyse Spatz Caplan, Director of Programs and Partnerships for Living Beyond Breast Cancer, lbbc.org.
Thank you.